What if Kim Jong Un were assassinated tomorrow? No warning, no succession plan, just a single headline: North Korea's supreme leader dead. For most of the world, it might sound like the end of a dictatorship, but for those who understand the system he built, it could mark the beginning of something far more dangerous. Because when the most secretive, nuclear-armed regime on Earth loses its ruler overnight, no one, not even the generals, truly knows what happens next. The first reaction inside North Korea would be confusion and fear. State television would go black or switch to patriotic music. Government officials would vanish from sight. The public would be told nothing. In Pyongyang, the military and security services would seal the borders. The internet lines, already limited, would shut down entirely. Every foreign diplomat would be confined to their compound. While the outside world scrambles for information, North Korea's elites would be deciding whether to hide, fight, or seize control. Kim's death would expose the most dangerous flaw in his regime. Everything revolves around him. The ruling party, the army, and the spy agencies each believe they are the real guardians of the state. Without the supreme leader to balance them, those institutions could turn on each other within hours. Kim's sister, Kim Yo-jong, might try to take power. She's feared, disciplined, and already acts as his spokesperson. But she would face rivals: senior generals who control the weapons, and party elders who see her as too young, too radical, or too loyal to the family alone. That struggle could decide whether North Korea survives or collapses. The most frightening question: who controls the nuclear arsenal? North Korea's command structure is opaque. Launch authority technically passes through the Central Military Commission, but every step ultimately required Kim's personal approval. If he's gone, no one knows who holds the codes. One faction might try to prove strength by testing a missile. Another might threaten the South or Japan to demand recognition. A third might simply panic, mistaking foreign observation planes for an attack. In the worst case, a nuclear state could fall into confusion with dozens of commanders each thinking they are in charge. South Korea would raise military alert to the highest level. Japan would scramble jets. China would seal its border and quietly move troops northward. Not to invade, but to prevent millions of refugees from pouring across. The U.S. 7th Fleet would reposition in the Pacific. Satellite traffic would surge as the world's powers watched the peninsula hour by hour. One misunderstanding, a radar echo, a nervous artillery unit firing too soon, could ignite a regional war within a day. Inside North Korea, the population would be paralyzed. Decades of propaganda taught them that the Kim family are living gods. If that god suddenly dies, faith itself collapses. Factories would stop. Soldiers might desert. Ordinary people, starving and terrified, would flood the roads looking for food or answers. Without clear authority, border guards could defect, and smuggling networks could turn into armed gangs controlling whole provinces. It would look less like revolution and more like a slow implosion of a sealed-off country finally cracking open. The world economy would feel it too. South Korea's markets would plunge, dragging Asia's stock exchanges with them. Shipping lanes near the Korean peninsula would close. Oil and gold prices would surge as investors flee to safety. Diplomatically, Washington and Beijing would race to shape what comes next. China would want stability, perhaps backing a puppet regime. The U.S. would call for international oversight, humanitarian aid, and denuclearization. But neither side trusts the other, so the peninsula could become the next great flashpoint of the 21st century, a place where two superpowers stare at each other through the ruins of a fallen dictatorship. So, what if Kim Jong Un were assassinated tomorrow? It wouldn't automatically bring freedom. It could bring collapse, confusion, and the risk of war. Because removing one dictator doesn't erase the system that produced him, it only exposes the chaos he kept hidden. The world might celebrate for a moment, but within hours it would realize something darker. A nation armed with nuclear weapons, ruled by fear for 70 years, doesn't vanish peacefully. It unravels violently, piece by piece.